Hello, hello, hello. I'm back again to do a review of chapter 500. A couple people requested it on my last chapter review video, and thank you for being interested in seeing my reaction to chapter 500. Now, obviously, I've already read it, so it's not, really a reaction video. It's just my review of it. So, let's get started. I'm going to use the manga stream translation this time. And here we go. Um, Basically, we have a really cute cover. We've got most of the really prominent characters. Of course, you've got Team Natsu. You've got Kana in the back, who still looks drunk even in the water. You've got Elfman and Mira and Lizana, so you have the Straw siblings, and we have Gajil and Levy in the back being all cute, and there's some weird fish around, even like a bird fish thing. I don't know what that is. And then we have very, very, um, I'd say you got Juvia here, and she just sticks out like a sore thumb because we know in the last chapter she died. So she's dead, but she's not dead because otherwise this is in really bad taste. So it kind of gives it away in the very beginning that Juvia is probably gonna be okay. But it's just cute because we're celebrating 500 chapters and it's underwater here, and that's very much Juvia's forte. So okay, next page. Let's go. Let's get past all the color things. Okay. So the first page is all color, and you've got Lucy falling on Natsu and poor Happy being squashed under Natsu as well. And you got ginormous Brandish, and they're just she Natsu's like, "What the hell are you trying to do?" And Lucy's like, "Brandish, please, I don't want to fight you no matter what." And I think it's really funny that Happy's basically being squashed between Natsu's dick and Lucy's boobs. It's like really Happy. No. Okay. So yeah, Lucy's like, "I don't want to fight you no matter what," and Brandish looks all sad, and she goes, "I feel the same way," and they're shocked that she said that. "I am in your debt after all. As a special exception, I have chosen to turn a blind eye to you three." And Happy's like, "Special exception. As I made clear previously, I am a loyal citizen of Alvarez. I have no intention of betraying my homeland. So from this moment forward, I shall be returning to the battlefield and will annihilate every single one of your comrades. However, I will overlook the three of you and return your kindness by sparing you." Okay, so obviously this is not going to sit well with Natsu and Lucy and Happy because she's basically just saying, "You guys are cool, but I'm going to kill everybody else. So just, FYI." And of course, Lucy's like, "What?" And Natsu indeed is saying, Do you even realize what that sounds like to us?" And she still looks sad, so she's obviously really torn. And then you have Di Maria here, and she's really pissed, and she's like, "Randy," in her like she's like seething, she's shaking, she's so mad. And she goes, "I put my faith in you." She's like watching from afar, she's spying on them. "I put my faith in you, I believed in you, and yet." And then we have Brandish talking again, and she goes, "This battle, no matter how you look at it, we will be the victors. That has long been set in stone. The sheer numbers of our forces and their individual skill levels is freaking 12, August, Eileen, and on top of all that, the fact that the Emperor at this very moment is in the middle of obtaining Fairy Heart, it can only mean one thing. Whatever sliver of hope your side had of winning has now been reduced to zero." And of course, this is set up for, yeah, no, Fairy Tale pretty much always triumphs one way or another. So, yeah, it's being set up to basically shoot down what she just said. And here we have Natsugo. "Those are just words. We ain't gonna know until we try." And Brandish is like, "You may not know, but I do. Let me make this clear. All of your friends will die today." And now we cut over to people we haven't seen in several chapters, which is the Straw siblings. And Lizana is going, "Even though it's 2-on-1, damn it," and they're fighting Agil, and Agil's like, And Elfman, I'm going to protect the guild and Lizana at any and all costs. Now, I actually want to talk a little bit about Elfman. I feel like the thing in Tartarus that happened where he kind of was made to betray the guild, trying to blow it up and everything, and obviously he came in because Mira commanded him to via Sayla's ability that she took over and had him take out Sayla. I still feel like he hasn't gotten that redemption from that. Like I feel like he wanted to be redeemed and make up for what he did, and it still hasn't happened. I think because it was Mira who controlled him to do that against Sayla. So I mean, hopefully he'll have some kind of big moment here. I don't know. I mean, if this is all that they're getting, if this is all he's getting, kind of sucks for Elfman. And I really did want more of Elfman and Evergreen as well. Like I feel like we haven't gotten anything in a long time, and it kind of was set up to do something about um, Elfman and Evergreen in Tartarus because Evergreen got sick, and that never went anywhere either. So I do feel like Elfman's getting really like sidelined, like big time, or like pushed to the back of the story, and that sucks for him. I mean, I'm not a huge Elfman fan, but I did feel like that's like a loose end that hasn't really been tied up. Anyway, sorry. Oh, and we have Mira, and she's being hit by Jacob, and she's like, ugh. And Jacob still can't look at Mira because she's got like basically all her boobs are hanging out and stuff, and but he's using a secret technique now called shutting my eyes. He's so weird. I'm sorry, Jacob. It's just, ugh. And indeed, Mira agrees with me because she goes, "This weirdo, he's really strong." And then we have Minerva. Honestly, you know what's weird? I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it sucks. Like, Minerva was like an antagonist, and she was like so beastly. Like, she's so strong, and then soon as she comes over to the good side, to the side of light, all of a sudden she struggles and she has problems. It's the same thing with all of the antagonists. Like, Juvia, again, she was like, supposedly the first time she probably ever lost was against Grey, and she had like this very hacks magic of, no physical attacks can hurt her, and yet every freaking physical attack ever since she's been a fairy tale member, pretty much has hurt her. So they do get kind of like downgraded in a way when they become like good characters. So, but it is what it is. That's for the story. Anyway, yeah, Minerva's getting destroyed by Wall, I think that is, and then we have, I think is that Bradman? Is this pathetic display truly the extent of your strength, Shadow? So there's Rogue again. When he was an antagonist, no issues, but here. So, but the thing is, well, I'll talk about it later. But okay, so we just see random freaking fodder attacking, and we see Erza panel, Makarov panel die Makarov, some random peoples again fighting, and then we have, oh no, Juvia lying on the floor where she was last time, in her pool of her own blood, and she looks pretty dead. But I will point out, where is her bra? Because she was totally wearing a really pretty bra in the last chapter when she was all like, I killed myself. Now it's gone, and Grey's gone too, and I'm just saying, what happened to the bra? I mean, it's probably an art fail, but it would be really hilarious if Grey, like, for whatever reason, memento of his dead love, took the bra with him. That's hilarious. I'm sorry, but it's a sad moment. She's dead. Her bra is gone. I'm just saying, the bra's not there. You really think... Okay, so we're back to Natsu and Lucy, sorry. We're back to Natsu and Lucy, and Natsu says, you really think I'll just sit here and watch them all die? And Lucy goes, I'll have you know, we've survived and overcome countless fierce battles in the past. Amen, Lucy. And Brandish is still being all, you know not the true strength and terror of the 12. Whatever, Brandish, okay? Just, you're on their side and you know it, so stop being stupid. Okay, now... the part that I was looking forward to because of the last chapter and how it ended. We've got Grey literally seething in rage, And Invul is like shitting himself because Gray is terrifying. Here we go, Invul, and he goes, "This is unprecedented. I cannot believe you still breathe." And like I said, he's literally seething, enraged in the next panel. And then we have Invul again, but one thing is crystal clear: you will not be able to fight at full strength with such grievous wounds. And then we have Gray punching him in the face and breaking his glasses, which is so satisfying. Go Gray! Oh, and that big panel, he's just slamming him into the ground. It's so great. I don't know what he's doing here. I think he kicked him. We have another punch, and Invul is saying, "This man, yeah, you hurt his bay, dude. That's unforgivable. This man is." Invul just got punched into a wall, as he should. He deserves it. Okay, so he's rebounding now, and he seems intent on forcing me to unleash that, whatever that might be. Okay, so we see him covering himself in ice, and now he has a pretty cool, no pun intended, ice armor situation going on to try and counter Gray, and he's calling it Ice Rending Divine Raiment. Ooh, fancy name. So we've got that, but Gray doesn't give a shit. He's just like, ooh, ice fist punchings. This is from, and he's explaining, because you have to explain. In real life, no one who's in such a fight would sit around explaining anything. But anyway, he goes, "This is ice from the depths of the underworld itself. All things unlucky enough to graze it shall freeze instantly." Ooh, dangerous. Okay, so even the likes of you and your body's immunity to ice, it matters not. So he's bragging. He's like, "You can't do shit against me now. This is unholy armor. This unholy armor freezes anything and everything without fail." And Gray doesn't care. He's still punching. But it does look like he's freezing up. But the thing is, and Invul again is mocking him. He's like, "Be forever frozen in time and shattered to pieces." But the thing is, that's the beauty of this situation. Gray is too mad to give a shit. He's just so pissed, and he just smashes through this armor that's supposed to be so, like, infallible. And Invul's shocked. You could see part of his face now because it's smashed off, and he goes, "What?" And yeah, Gray's still raging. He's still mad. And then we get Natsu, and he's basically narrating in a way what's going on with Gray. He goes, "You want to play that game? Then fine." He's still talking to Brandish though. "You all have no clue just how terrifying Fairy Tail can be." And indeed, we go back to Gray, and Invul is terrified, and he's going, "This cannot be." And he's explaining what Gray's doing. He's utilizing ice of the same property as my divine raiment. So basically, Gray either absorbed it or understood it and is using the same thing back at him. And he's molding it, which is ice make. And I'm really glad, honestly, because as much as I love the whole, his dad gave him his magic, and I think it's really sweet, I love Ur's magic. I love the whole story about being his teacher, and him and Leon learning ice make from her. And I didn't want it to take a backseat. I love his molding magic. So here he is using it, and he's this panel. Okay, so if there's any doubt why Gray is so pissed, why he's so furious, why he is raging to the extent that he is, this is why. He says, and his eyes are always shielded in these moments because this is when you know he is really emotional. He goes, "You stole away Juvia's future right from under her." Indeed, Invul. He feels like Invul is responsible for why Juvia is no longer there. So yeah, he's mad because he lost probably his most important person. I'm not even gonna say probably. Juvia is his most important person. So yeah, he's pissed because she's dead. Right. So, okay, and that's unforgivable. And apparently in the Japanese, Rod is actually just straight up, "I'll never forgive you," basically, what he did against Juvia. So, he goes, and he's still punching him right, left, up, down. "You're the one who's going to shatter to pieces, you son of a bitch." And he did curse him in Japanese too. And then he has cool, like, ice gauntlets on, and he goes, "Ice Devil, zero destruction fist." And you see Invul go spinning, and as my friend Crystal very keenly pointed out, Hi, Crystal. Um, Invo looks like Ichiya in this panel of him being beaten. It's pretty hilarious. Like his face is so puffed and his eyes are so squinty, and even his hair it just looks just like Ichiya, and that's great. But the next panel of Gray is the best panel in the entire chapter. He's just you. Mashima shows like how great of an artist he is. He is devastated. You could feel the pain in Gray's face in this panel. You see the tears in his eyes, and his hair's back down to normal. He's calmed down. I think it's funny that his hair just spikes up though with his emotions, but his hair's back down to normal. He's calmed down, but he's broken. He's devastated. He's lost Julia, and you could feel it all. That pain in that panel, and like Mashima, like you are so great at at art. It's so good. I love that panel. Oh, poor Gray. Like, yeah, how could you not want to give him a hug here? He's so sad. And now we're back to Brandish, and she goes, recall the events that transpired on Caracal Island. If we so desired, the 12, myself included, could crush you all in mere seconds. And Natsu's like, go ahead and try. And Lucy is like, Natsu, I never asked you to spare us. There's no need to overlook nothing. And he says, when we decided to come here, we knew what we were getting ourselves into. We knew what was on the line. And here comes frickin' Einhart again. And he's like, where is Lady Erza? And they're like, Lady Erza? It is interesting. I guess maybe there's some kind of royalty. Maybe. I mean, Erza and whatever Eileen is to her, twin is my guess, but maybe not. I don't know. Just something different. Mother, sister. I don't know. Aunt. She looks too much like Erza. That's the thing. So I'm going with twin until I am proven wrong, which I probably will be, but whatever. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, why Lady Erza? Like she's something really important. Maybe he just thinks of Eileen as so, I don't know, important that's why he refers to her like that and refers to Erza like that because she's probably related to her. Or is there something deeper there and she's some kind of fancy schmancy Richie who knows what? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, Nineheart, those eyes you've been, and so he says, indeed, you're bearing witness to Lady Eileen's formidable enchantment techniques. And you see him, and he's like brimming with power, and he goes, this unrivaled power exceeds even the limits of my own magic. So his eyes are all weird. And Eileen did something to him, or Irene did something to him. Step aside, Brandish. Those pitiful mages are comrades of Lady Erza. And in other words, are enemies. And happy again, he's like, Lady Erza. And but Brandish is like, no, fall back. I'm in the middle of negotiations with them. And Nineheart's like, negotiations? Am I to interpret that as betrayal? Betrayal to Lady Eileen? And then he like attacks Brandish and everybody. And Whirlwind, what's going on? My magic, and Brandish says, my magic is having no effect? He's been enhanced that much? You bastard! And that's Natsu, of course. Stop, you mustn't. He's not an opponent whose strength you can hope to match, said Brandish. And, Nineheart is cackling. He feels so confident. And here we go. We have Natsu. It ain't about whether I can match him or not. It's either move forward or pull back, and I don't know the meaning of the second one. And he punches Nineheart. And Brandish is shocked. And Natsu says, putting our heads down and marching forward one step at a time, that's what we do. So this is our little, power, I guess, to hyping up Fairy Tail, and that they're not going to be defeated by the Spriggans, and basically it's all proving Brandish wrong is what this situation is. And Natsu, there's this huge page, and Natsu's like, that is the one and only path to our guild, and you see Nineheart being defeated again. Now, I know people are disappointed. They're like, Mashima brought the Spriggans back, and only to have them be defeated again so quickly, but Here's the thing. First of all, I think he brought the Spriggans back mostly just so he can draw that panel of all the Spriggans together. That's me. Like, I feel like it was an art thing. I don't think there was anything that much deeper about it than just he wanted to draw that panel of them all together again. Because he had never drawn them all together because they were just basically, a lot of them were in shadows, or we didn't see all of them properly, or only we didn't see all the real versions of them. Like Wall was fake Wall. He had like a robot form that wasn't really him, stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I feel like if you're disappointed about the Spriggans not putting up a good fight the second time around, what did you expect? I mean, they've already been defeated once. You think if they're going up against people like Natsu that they're not going to get their ass handed to them? If they're going up against people like Gildarts. I mean, these are supposed to be the monsters of the series. So of course they're going to get defeated again easily. It's just to basically buy some time and stall, in my opinion, and give some of the side characters also something more to do. If because they didn't get a Spriggan and they didn't get a fresh Spriggan, but they're getting at least a Spriggan. My question is, now that Nineheart's been defeated, people like the Sabretooth people like Minerva and Rogue, who are fighting characters that are already dead that Nineheart brought back, are they going to just disappear? Probably. So there goes their fights, but I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, if you're upset, I don't see why. We already saw them defeated once. What's the point of watching them again? Going through a long drawn-out battle? That would be weird. And they're probably weaker the second time around, although Nineheart wasn't supposed to be because he got all buffed up, but he's going up against Natsu, so, that's just not a chance. So we have the fire part of this thing. The only thing I will say is, of this chapter title, it's called, Fire and Ice, very Game of Thrones, and I love Game of Thrones. But yeah, the thing is, I do kind of miss proper strategies and like new attacks. I that's one of the things I really miss from the beginning of the series. I feel like a lot of it is just basically punching with whatever your element happens to be, and that gets tiring. So that kind of sucks. Like the battles aren't really creative, and in a battle manga, it's a pretty big um I guess weakness to the story. You want really interesting battles, and when they're not, and it's just a lot of punching, it's just boring. So that's my critique on that. So there we go. Brandish has changed her mind. Did I miscalculate? Was he truly this strong? And Lucy is cheering him on. Attaboy, Natsu. And Happy's asking the important questions. Just what did he mean by all that Lady Urza talk? Indeed, Happy. But Di Maria is like looking over, and she ain't pleased. And okay, as I said in the last chapter, Juvia and her death. Now, like I said, I did not think she was dead in the first place. Okay, I thought she was dead, but not dead. And indeed, we see her waking up in these panels. And like I said, she'd be fine. But every single time, like, it's not Mashima doesn't surprise me with deaths. He surprises me by how short of amount of time that they actually stay dead. And I'm not complaining, it's just that it would have been okay. I think I would have preferred it if if her status was remained unknown for another several chapters at least. Just to keep us in the same place that Gray is. It does take a little bit away from Gray's raging and grief because we know Juvia is fine. If we were still unaware, we could have been where Gray is. And I get that. I get it completely. But on the other hand, Mashima is really nice to his fans. He knew people were going to freak out. And I know a lot of people were like disbelieving. I was disbelieving. I knew she was going to be fine. A lot of people were skeptical. But there are a lot of kids who read this story. And I could tell you from looking on Twitter, there were plenty of people who were distraught. I mean, you could say, oh, they're just silly. They should know better. But in my opinion, that the story is directed to those people who are going to care and are going to believe that something happened to Juvia and are going to want her back sooner rather than later. And it is a milestone chapter. I feel like if it wasn't chapter 500, maybe Mashima wouldn't have brought her back yet. But I feel like he wanted to basically put those people at ease and just do something big again with, hey, she's fine, so don't worry. So anyway, I forgive it. I understand why it was done, so it's fine. And especially because of the setup, which I will talk about. So here's Juvia, and she's going, ah. And there's Wendy and Carla, and Wendy's going, no, you must lie still. Please do not try and get up just yet. And Juvia's like, Wendy. And Carla explains, she goes, if she had found you even a moment later, your life really would have been in danger. So apparently, stuffing your, water blade hands into right through your stomach is not really much danger. I don't know. Like the way that was phrased is so funny. It's like if we had been a little bit late, you would have been really in trouble. Like what? What? Wasn't she in trouble before? But like I said, she didn't die. Didn't think she had. So she wasn't brought back from the dead. She just had not died yet in the first place. And remember, again, she was not giving her own blood. She was making blood, so she was okay enough to still be performing a very powerful magic of creating blood from water for Gray. So, yeah. Anyway, so Wendy goes, well, to be more precise, it was thanks to Charles' precognition abilities that we were able to locate you. So they were able to find, the explanation is they were able to find her and heal her so quickly because Charles or Carla or whatever her name is supposed to be, she used her foreseeing magic. She foresaw that Juvia would need help, and they were able to get to her. So Juvia is still alive? Yeah, we're all really confused, Juvia, but it's okay. We knew it would happen, and you'd be fine. And she's got some gravity-defying boobs, as do they all. Good for you, Juvia. And anyway, so Juvia owes you her life, Wendy and Charles. Juvia thanks you from the bottom of her heart. So she's doing a really deep bow, and so sweet. Like, she's so grateful, and she's so polite. Like, I love Juvia because she's like super classy and polite. And Wendy goes, not at all. Healing is my forte, after all. I'm going to protect everyone. I'm not just doing my own part. I've got Sharia's portion to do as well. Okay. When I saw this, because actually I read the raw transcript first, before the chapter came out, and as soon as I read this, I was like, oh, yes. Okay, so Juvia goes, just as Juvia was losing consciousness, she felt the sensation of being kissed by Gure-sama. And Charles, of course, goes, I can assure you that was 100% definitely all in your imagination. Now, here's the thing. As soon as she said that, and as soon as Charles said that, and if we consider where we left Gray and Juvia, like the last panel of them together, in my opinion, it is completely obvious that Gray probably did kiss her. He kissed her because it just makes so much sense. Mashima wants us to think like Charles. We see Juvia going all, with her happy, silly, fantasy situation, but when she's not fantasizing, she says she kind of felt a sensation of being kissed by Gray. She sensed it, and I feel like Mashima's trying to just make us think it's as usual, that Juvia's just being silly, and it didn't really happen. But in my opinion, in this case, it absolutely happened. It just makes so much sense for Mashima to write things that way. It makes so much sense for Gray to do something like that at that point. I feel like, Gray loved her, and he lost her, and he was begging her to wake up, and his forehead was up against hers. He was holding his face in her hands. That was the last thing we saw of them, and he was so distraught, and he just wanted her to be okay. And I feel like, he probably had so many regrets. He never got a chance to actually tell her how he felt, and I could absolutely see him kissing her, just a goodbye, like this is it, or like a last ditch attempt to wake her up, like just give her a kiss. And and it's his feelings, so he kissed her, he loved her, and he thought that he would never see her alive again, and this would be it. Mind you, the fact that if he did kiss her and walked away and just left her there, like, dude, check for a pulse. What are you doing? Like, how did you not? That is so, we have to, like, suspend disbelief, basically, and just take it for what it is, because how did he not know she was alive? But I feel like he was so enraged, so distraught that he just wasn't thinking and he just wanted to go after Invil, and that was basically what the situation was and why he didn't realize that Juvia was still, kicking. But yeah, he kissed her. Like, I have no doubts. I feel like that is going to come up when they reunite later on, and it's going to be our. I feel like we're going to get all our serious stuff, Gray's answer and all that, but then the comedy will be great. It will be Juvia bringing it up, and everyone's going to just be like, oh, Juvia, you were just imagining it. And then Gray is going to be really red in the face, and he's going to be like, yeah. Like, or say, you felt that? Like, he'd be really embarrassed, basically. He's gonna go soon there, for sure. And then we'll know for sure that he kissed her, and either Juvia's going to insist she get another one, and I insist with her, or she's just going to be, like, in her lovey-lovey mode. And I personally, though, if this really happened, I've always wanted a kiss. If they got a kiss already, we better get a flashback to it. I'm just saying, either we get a flashback or we get a fresh one. Because I do not want their kiss to be off panel. I don't care if it's basically confirmed through Grace soon later on that he did kiss her. I want to see it. I want to see the kiss. We got a kiss, then we better freaking see it, because that's not cool. We deserve to see a kiss. Everybody else got a kiss, whether it was, in CPR or, like, or in silhouette or whatever, or even a troll one. Groovy have never even gotten a troll one. This could be our troll kiss, but that's bullshit, because they're at the end of their story here. I want to see a real kiss, and if Gray kissed her, that's cool, but I want to see it, and if we're not going to see a flashback, then I want to see a new one. Just saying, like, something should happen that they kiss again, or we get that flashback. But he kissed her. Like, no doubts. So, yeah, Juvia, you're totally right. So, okay, then she, like, snaps out of it immediately, and she goes, that's right, what has become of Gray-sama? So she's worried about Gray again, and she's like, is Gray-sama safe? And they confirm he wasn't here when we arrived. Now, that's the beauty, okay? Okay, so Juvia's back a little quicker than I wanted her to be back, but the fact that Gray doesn't know that she's alive and he's despairing, that's everything, because that sets us up for a glorious reunion, because he is completely sure that she's gone, and when he sees her alive, like, it will be so good. Like, as long as he doesn't know for a while, and we get that reunion, because Tartarus, we were waiting for a reunion there, and that more than lived up to the expectations. Here, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I want, like, everything. So, okay, so we'll go back to Gray. We see Gray again, and it's just really kind of funny because, of course, Juvia's fine, but we get him. We have Invil on the ground, and Gray's staring down at him. His eyes are, like, all shaded, and you still see tears falling down from his cheeks, and he goes, I can stand here and pound away at you all day and night. It won't bring Juvia back. She's never coming back. Oh, puppy. Check for a pulse next time. She's fine. She's fine. She's really okay. It's just, but it's sad, but it's funny. It's sad because Gray is just completely broken about this situation, and he basically took out all of his rage and frustration out on Invil, who deserved it. And yeah, Invil's lying there all bruised and puffy faced, and he goes, the same could be said for your father, mother, and master as well. And yeah, good question, Gray. How the hell do you know about them? And I guess Invil did research, but obviously not good enough, because he should never have tied Gray and Juvia together. But I think he did it because he maybe did know about Juvia, but he thought that his magic trumped it, whatever they felt for each other, and if Gray taking Juvia out by his own hands would plummet him into despair and darkness. But again, Gray's not, because he doesn't have any of his devil slaying stuff. He did this only with his ice molding magic, and that's awesome. So he goes, okay, so Invil's still talking, and he's going, it's all predetermined by fate. As long as E&D remains undefeated, you're doomed to suffer through never-ending misfortune and heartache. You don't need to tell me twice, this is Gray, I'm going to be the one to defeat E&D. And then Invil corrects him and it goes, it would be more accurate to say you are the only one who can defeat END. However, you still are blissfully unaware of its true identity. And then we see a panel of Natsu, but Invil's still talking, and he goes, the mightiest of all the demons from the Book of Zareth, and your true mortal enemy is none other than a man you know all too well. And I'm sorry, because this frame of Natsu, like this panel, he just looks so cute. Like, I just want to pinch his cheeks. Like, he just looks adorable. So, all this being said over this panel where he's supposed to be looking kind of fierce, but he doesn't. He just looks really adorable and like, would you, not you? But yeah, and then he announces to a very shocked Gray, Etherius, Natsu, Dragneel. This cruel revelation will be the rift that tears apart an irreplaceable friendship. And then this is to be continued in chapter 501, Mari and Randy. So from that you could tell that Di Maria is probably going to be taken out by Brandish, who is probably going to 100% turn to the fairy tale side. And because otherwise, how would you get rid of Di Maria? Because she was only able to be taken down because Shelia got help from Ultir, and they were only able to even touch her because Ultir froze time, and we're not going to have her, or I should say, messed with time, and we're not going to have Ultir come back and do something else. So Randy or Brandish taking care of Di Maria makes sense to me. So, and plus Di Maria's already been defeated once before, so yeah, let Brandish, handle that situation. But yeah, we get the reveal to Gray that Natsu is End, and basically Invil's trying to turn Gray against Natsu and say that all the things that sucked in your life is basically his fault, which I think is bullshit. I mean, like, yeah, you could say, okay, so End is one of the demons of Zareth, and Zareth is responsible for so much shit that went wrong in Gray's life. And he lost so many people because of, obviously Deliora was one of Zareth's demons, and that led to a whole bunch of stuff with Ultir and Ol and his family. Well, not Ultir. Ultir didn't die because of, or I should say, get old because of that. She that was with the dragon invasion. But I mean, it did all stem basically from Zareth, but Natsu didn't choose to be brought back into the world, and certainly didn't choose to be END. So, but yeah, I do think that this Gray's gonna think about it, and he probably is gonna confront Natsu, and Natsu is End, and he knows that. So it had to happen. That's why Gray needed to be in a bad mindset. That's why he needed to lose Juvia, and why he has to still continue to feel like Juvia's gone and not know that she's back, because he needs to be in despair for this fight to ever happen. Because if Gray is thinking about this logically, if he's got a clear head and a clear heart, he wouldn't normally attack Natsu regardless of if he's END. But because he doesn't have a clear head and heart because he lost Juvia, I feel like that means that it makes a lot more sense that he would attack Natsu, especially if he feels betrayed in any way by Natsu basically not telling him he's END, even though he just found out he was END himself. So, but I feel bad for Natsu, and I feel like, this fight is going to have to happen because that's the point. But that's where Juvia comes into things. That's where the reunion comes into things, because it was foreshadowed back in Tartarus. We had basically Lucy and Juvia on the cover of one of the chapters, and they were like chatting and being all friendly and talking and stuff and whatever on a balcony, and it basically said that they're like really good friends, and that was the cover for a chapter that had to do with Natsu and Gray teaming up against Mard. So you got their girls on the cover and the boys, teamwork against a enemy. And I feel like that was foreshadowing because it makes so much sense, because you've got Natsu versus Gray, and I feel like both of the girls will save their guys in using the one magic, which is love. I think that as soon as Gray sees Juvia, first of all, he probably won't believe it's her. He'll be in shock. But I do see, like, her presence stopping whatever's going on from his side of things. And likewise, I feel like Lucy will do something with the one magic or whatever to save Natsu from his END self. I don't know what will trigger END. I kind of want Lucy to open up the book. I feel like if she opens up the book of End, and that will release Natsu as End. That will trigger it. And I kind of want her to be the one to do it because she loves books, and I think she'd be curious. But I don't know. But I do know she'll ultimately be the one to save Natsu from himself because it just makes sense. Like she'll be his hero because he's always been hers. So, yeah, I want that. I really, really want that. I think that would be great. Having the two girls like come in and stop the boys from beating the shit out of each other, basically. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Juvia and Gray's reunion. I feel like it's gonna be really. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the tension. There's so much tension because Gray doesn't know she's dead. I mean, alive. He doesn't know she's alive, and that's perfect. Like, if he had known she was alive, that would have ruined it for me. Like, Juvia being back already, Gray knowing she's back, that would have sucked. Like, and so I'm so glad when we found out that he absolutely does not know she's alive. I was like, oh, yes, there's my tension. There it is. I have it. I got it. It feels so good. Like, we literally got everything we wanted. Like, this raging against Invul thing, I wanted it for so long, like for Gray to rage because something happened to Juvia. But I will say this: I don't understand why Juvia was brought back so fast. In that she could have been saved. We could have had we could have Wendy and Carla or Charla or Charles or whatever the frick her name is. Charles. That's a boy's name. Mashima. Charles sitting there and looking over Juvia, and she could still have been unconscious. Like, they could have said, okay, we healed her, and that would have been the end of it. And we could have just had her not be able to get up yet and still be lying there, not awake because she lost so much blood or whatever. But no, Mashima had her actually wake up, and obviously she wants to go to Gray. So it can't happen yet, though. That can't happen. That has to be saved. So that's what confuses me. Now, it's cool if she's awake because Mashima is going to give her something to do in the meantime. Because as I said in my last chapter review, if I had a criticism about the last chapter, it was Juvia didn't get a fight. Like, she fought offshoots of other people's Spriggans. Now, I want Juvia to have a fight. Even if it's a recycled Spriggan at this point. Something. Like, let her fight someone else so that she has some kind of fight. But I don't know who she would fight. Because there's, like, no Spriggans left. And the only ones that are left are already taken. So I don't know who she would fight. That's my issue. But then why bring her back already? And if she's just going to go straight to Gray, like, that's going to have to be delayed. So are we just going to how long is it supposed to take for her to find him? I don't understand. That's what I don't get. So that's why I hope that Mashima brought her back so fast, because he has some plans for her to do something in the meantime. But if not, then I don't get it. I don't know why she's back if she's not going to have anything to do. So that's me. That's how I think about it. Like, I'm fine with that she's back. I'm glad people who were worried are now at ease. If people don't like that she's back, all I have to say to you again is this is fairy tale. You should have known better. And also, she was never said to be dead in the first place. Yeah, Mashima wanted us to think she was, wanted us to think she was dying or dead. But no one ever said it. So you shouldn't complain, in my opinion, because you should know better. So that's me. That's how I think about it. And I'm totally cool with her being back because I knew she would be back. I just didn't think it was going to be that fast. But it always is that fast. Like Mira, dead three pages. Gajil, 2 chapters. Juvia, not even 1. In fact, Gray, also not even 1 when he died. So, he really did die, but he was brought back via time shenanigans. So, anyway, yeah, that's my thoughts on this chapter. It was a really good chapter. It's just that, I don't know, like, I feel like, maybe it would have been better if we didn't see that Juvia was alive yet, but I'm fine with it as long as we have the tension of Gray doesn't know. because that's everything. That builds up to a reunion, and I love our gruvia reunions, and I'm excited for it. I just hope it doesn't happen. I mean, like, I don't like waiting. I'm a very impatient person, but I do hope in this case that it doesn't happen for a while, because let's build the tension. Like, if you do it too soon, it kills the tension, obviously. So I am looking forward to how Gray will react. I still want to kiss. If he kissed her already, which he probably did, I want to see it. And if he didn't, then I want a new one. I want a kiss, or maybe if we don't get to see a flashback, then we better get a fresh one. Like, Julia better insist that he kiss her again while she's awake. Because that's not cool, Gray. You don't sneak kiss people, okay? Especially once you think they're dead. Too late, okay? So he was regretting, he was remorseful, he wished he had, like, done something sooner and made a move sooner, and I feel like that's why the kiss happened. And again, I really do think it happened. So, yeah, I'm rambling now, as usual, but I hope people enjoyed this review. Wasn't as long as the other one, but it was still too freaking long at 45 minutes. So I'm going to end it here, and for everyone who requested, just thank you, and thank you for watching. And I probably won't do a chapter review again till we get our reunion, most likely. So, bye.